ahead and call to order the Board of Commissioners special meeting, December 11th, 2017. At this point in time, per statute, we're required to give special notice of this called meeting and set out the purpose of the meeting. The meeting was properly communicated by Mayor Pro Tem Hunt. The board may take up only the matter indicated in the notice. That's all we can talk about tonight. So at this point in time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented in the agenda document.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Hunt, can you please clarify for the record how this came about, because I was out of town?
Yes, sir. There was a email sent out concerning a post that was noted or found on a local, I guess, homeowners association. I think it's called Nextdoor app. It was sent to a commissioner who then forwarded it to the group of commissioners via our town board email. I communicated with that commissioner and another, and it was determined that they felt cause for a special meeting. And being that I am the Mayor Pro Tem, I am permitted to call a meeting, so I did call the meeting. I checked with you to make sure that you would be back in town, but also to advise you that I would be calling the meeting. And then I checked with the clerk, got the date and the time spread. We got that set. I went in and signed the document, and official notice was posted.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Burns, did you have something to say?
Yes, I had a comment. Can I make a comment now?
Sure.
I just want to make a statement that I think this close, 24 hours from now, we're going to be a very happy occasion where we're going to be swearing in 3 new people on the board that worked really hard on their elections and won. And I think that in view of that and a lot of other things that have come forward in this, that that should go before the new board. So I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
We have a motion on the table to adjourn the meeting. Any further discussion?
I'd like to make a discussion.
Yep, discussion.
And I think it is our right as commissioners. We work very hard to become commissioners, and it is our last day as commissioners, and it was handled under our reign, and we should take care of it. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
1 to 4 on that. Okay, thank you. Okay. With that, then, we will discuss and take action as necessary on an appointed member conduct. Just a couple of things, some housekeeping things. The rules of procedure adopted for Parks, Cultural and Recreation Advisory Board in 2015 and signed by then Mayor Gardner are what's in play here. Specifically, any action, and we have had precedents already established here, must be based upon for cause. Whatever you discuss has to be for cause. Cannot be political or personal. And annually, we require confirmation of awareness and acceptance of those of the ethics policy and code of conduct. You have, I think, a copy from the clerk indicating that was completed, correct? Okay. All right, Commissioner Burrell, since you raised the issue, can you please share with the board what you perceive to be the violation and what, if any, recommendation you recommend?
I'd like to start with a little bit of a preamble. I know that we meet here on a regular basis, and quite often citizens who take the time to make public comments, sometimes they're favorable, oftentimes they're not, and we have to deal with that because they are private citizens. When I got this email that was sent to me by a neighbor, and I read in it that Jean Sena sent it out as I am the chair of Waxhaw's Park and Recreation Department. To me, that was not as a private citizen. And then I forwarded it on to you. I forwarded it to Don Fisher, waiting, invoking the 24-hour rule, don't react while you might be a little upset. And I felt that it was in violation of our ethics policy. And I still feel it's in violation of our ethics policy to put yourself forward as a chair or a member of any board or committee and then go on to, misstate someone's position, mine, to denigrate the town, this board, for actions that were taken in the past. And as to telling people not to vote for me next time, I don't really care. But the first two, I think, are violations of our ethics policy. And as such, I would, intend to make a motion to have John Sinna removed from the Parks and Rec Committee.
Did you make a motion there?
I will make that motion to have John Sinna removed from the Parks and Recreation Committee for her activities in either email or, once she put her title to it, it became public domain. Had she said it as a private citizen, then it's just up to me to thicken my skin and move on.
All right. Discussion. Let's just go around. Commissioner Fitzgerald.
As she stated that she was she was the Waxhaw Parks and Rec Department Chair. There is no such thing, therefore it's misrepresentation too. So it's a legal action. There isn't a Parks and Rec Department Chair. There is no such thing.
Okay.
She would be an employee of the town then. She was that.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Warner?
Seeing as it's a committee, not any of the above, has she ever been chair of that committee?
Yes.
She was
Yes.
past chair then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Any further comments or?
No, that should be it.
Okay. Commissioner Stewart?
Well,
Burns, sorry.
when I first read this, I can see some issues here, but I don't think, when I read it, I don't see any intent to try and damage anyone. I think this was a personal email, and when I'm looking at all of the people that are on here, I think it's 15 recipients, and it looks like an email amongst a neighborhood. Perhaps Anglin Forest, I don't know, all the people on here. I do see a few recipients that are familiar. Well, one, I see I don't know how this email, I was told that it went out on social media. So did this go out on social media? Or is this just an email that somehow got to Commissioner Burrow?
Quite frankly,
Did it go out on Nextdoor?
I don't know if it did or not.
Well, that's what,
But the point is, Brenda, as soon as she signs herself or points herself out.
I understand that, but I'm asking
Right.
a question. Did it go out on Nextdoor? Because that was
That's
the
where I was
email
told it
where
came.
you stated that it went out on Nextdoor. I just see an email, a personal email chain here with 15 people who are obviously friends or neighbors.
When it was sent to me, it was stated that it was on next door Anglin Forest.
Can you tell me
And,
who sent it to you?
No, I won't. I mean, other people go for anonymity on things, so no.
So you received it as a private email. You were told it was out on
Private email.
Nextdoor. And Nextdoor is not something that is private to a neighborhood.
Was it actually posted
I-
on Nextdoor?
I'm not on that Nextdoor, and I
I'm
was
not
out of
either.
town, so I don't know.
Was it on Nextdoor?
Now, please.
I'm asking.
Yeah, is the administrator from Anglin Forest here for Nextdoor? So, you, okay. I'm not on Nextdoor. I've just asked you a simple question. Okay, that's all we need to know. Thank you.
So the fact.
Still an email.
So the
Okay.
fact that it was not on Nextdoor, and that's what alerted me when I got Commissioner Burrell's email, was that it was posted on Nextdoor, and I thought, well, I'm reading what Commissioner Burrell sent, and I'm thinking, that's out on Nextdoor. What what would kind of generate that kind of response? And then when the investigation, and John asked Ms. Cena to send this in, then I thought, oh, okay, well, this is a email between friends or whomever. I do see Brenda McMillan's email on here. So, didn't see that until now. So, I stand that I don't see any intent to try and harm anyone. Yes, she did state that she's the Waxhaw Parks and Rec Department, and I don't think there's any legal thing there, Commissioner Fitzgerald. I think that was just a, in my opinion, when you're typing and you're answering emails, that perhaps is just meant the board, not the department. Of course, we all know that Dina is the department director.
Mayor Pro Tem Hunt?
Okay. So first off, I want to, I guess, enter this into the record or talk about the memo that was on our desk. Make sure everybody's got a copy of that. We received a memo dated today from to the Waxhaw Board of Commissioners from the Waxhaw Organizational Advisory Board, recommendations regarding PCR membership. And I'll just go ahead and read it. That way it's in the record also, but I'll get a copy to Melody. During the 12/11/2017 regular meeting of the OAB, an item ethics was added to the new business of the agenda as item 5A at the start of the meeting. Upon reaching this item of the agenda, Chairman Fisher noted he had been informed that the PCR chairperson, John Cena, had made a public written statement via social media or email that was calling out one member of the Board of Commissioners, asking people to not re-elect this commissioner, and questioning recent action by the Board of Commissioners while stating that she was chair for the Waxhaw's Park and Recreation Department. The social media email post by Ms. Cena was read during the OAB meeting, as some members were previously aware of this post while others were not. Chairman Fisher stated that he was asked to bring this matter to the attention of the OAB for discussion or recommendation regarding the issue as the OAB saw fit. The OAB discussed this post, read the town's ethics policy, and reviewed the PCR rules of procedure. It was also noted that on October the 2nd, 2017, Ms. Cena signed an acknowledgement statement that she read and understood the town of Waxhaw's Code of Ethics policy. Ultimately, the OAB made the following recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. Motion by Tony Spellings that since the OAB was asked to provide input on this matter, motion to recommend that based upon the facts, it is clear that a violation of the ethics policy has occurred and that removal of the member is recommended, but to defer such discretionary action to the town manager and Board of Commissioners to review the entire range of disciplinary action before making a final decision. It was seconded by Dave Kosbiak and carried by a unanimous vote. So I'd like to enter that into the record. Thank you. All right, so I'm holding in my hand the Waxhaw Board and Committee Orientation Manual dated New Member Protocol Guide dated 2015. Commissioner Burns, I believe you were integral in getting this together, but this whole manual, correct? Because I'm sure as you as the rest of us felt that it was essential that we up the game with our boards and committees. Again, all of this current board, including the mayor, were board members of one sort or another, and I believe all of us were chairs of our respective boards at one point or the other. So we understand the need for this type of document and the importance of this type of document. Reading through this clearly outlines Waxhaw's Waxhaw's ethics policy and the individual responsibilities of each member of our committees. So I'm a little concerned with your starting the meeting off with suggesting that this board sitting here swore an oath 4 years ago that stopped 24 hours prior to the end of the term. This board has been consistent at each and every turn for the past 4 years.
Stop. We are talking, we are
Let's just
here
stay on
tonight.
topic.
I'm on
Stay on
topic.
No, you're not on
That's-
topic.
I'm on topic.
You're not on topic.
This board,
John, we don't care about what happened in the past. Stay on topic with what we're discussing tonight.
and this is part of this. This board has been consistent in dealing with this manual and dealing with all of our boards and committees over the 4 years, history or not. This is what creates tonight. that we have been consistent and we will continue to be consistent. Again, this is a very clear violation. You know, again, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but when you are presenting yourself as a Board of Commissioner, as a committee member, as a chair, it is then based on this document and just common sense, you're representing the town. And when you make statements that are degrading folks, that are doing things that are against what the town's going for, it's going to have an end.
Hang on a second. It sounds like you're making accusations towards Commissioner Burns. I don't think you meant that.
No, I was not. I was not speaking to her. I was
Okay.
talking about the email.
Okay, so in regards to the email, and I think to sum up what you said, there has been precedence over the last 4 years on a few
Absolutely.
actions. That's what you're trying to get at.
Absolutely.
Without trying to be inflammatory,
Absolutely.
that's what you're trying to get at.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to clean that a little bit. Do you have other comments?
Again, I support the motion.
So for the record, the 2015 document has been continually updated, and I think we're now on version 2 or 3, which is 2017. So, okay, everybody's had a chance. Commissioner Burns.
Melody, the copy that you gave me, is this the latest copy? Yes. In the number 2 on page 6, reporting, investigation, and enforcement, and it says a town official has knowledge of their own or of another person's potential conflict of interest or violation of this code of ethics is required to report to his or her immediate supervisor, members of boards. The town manager and town attorney will conduct an investigation unless the violation involves either of them, but may retain outside counsel if the violations involving employees will be enforced by the town manager or his designee. Violations involving the town manager, town attorney, boards, and committees appointed by the town board or town board members will be enforced by the town board if informal resolution is unsuccessful by the designated board liaison and one other board member. We don't have a board liaison. Do we?
Nope.
Well, then this is not valid there. Any violation of this policy will subject the officer, employer, agent to disciplinary action up to and including dismissal from employment or removal from appointed office. Violations involving town board members are governed under paragraph 3. If upon an investigation it is determined that a violation of criminal law, that doesn't apply. So I think we have an issue here where we don't have a board liaison. So what was the investigation? Was that
This is the
Commissioner,
investigation.
Hunt? That was, the investigation was done by you?
No, ma'am. This is it, as he said.
I mean,
We're
you
discussing
sent
it right
me
now.
emails. You handled it as Mayor Pro Tem, or as
I
Mayor-
called the meeting as Mayor Pro Tem, as designed by Mayor Pro Tem to be able to call a meeting. I called a special meeting.
You don't need to school me on that.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you're asking me what I did. That's what I did.
So this, you sent this, and you sent these things, so I'm assuming from the information that I've gotten and read over the past
I
several
didn't
days
send that
the
document.
investigation is being done by,
So I didn't send that document. Wait a minute. That come from the OAB. I
This-
did send that. That's right.
so I'm trying to understand, and Mayor Maher, maybe you can explain, why the OAB was brought into this when this clearly states that it's this board that does the investigation. Why is this recommendation from the OAB needed as an advisory committee? What was the intent of that?
They,
Advice.
go ahead.
The intent was for advice. And when faced with this, I didn't want to rely on my own.
Could you speak into the
I
microphone?
did not want to rely on my own judgment at that point because I was a little incensed. But I went and reached out to the mayor, and I reached out to the OAB to make sure that what I was looking at was, in fact, a violation of our ethics policy.
And what I shared with you was bring it forward.
Bring
to
it
the board,
forward to this board.
If you felt that way,
That's correct.
because we're the board.
Right.
I guess it's
Commissioner Warner.
This is a comment or a question. I mean, when a person identifies himself as a representative of the town, as compared to a personal opinion that puts you in a different category, and she has represented herself as a representative of the town, and she has said disparaging remarks about a sitting commissioner. To me, that's a violation of the ethics policy.
Okay. Other comments? Concerns? Commissioner Fitzgerald?
Gotta let the individuals speak.
Yeah, a minute, let's finish up with this.
This may be, and you tell me, Mayor Meyer, if this is not allowed in this conversation. In other situations, we have handled this on the side for some same type situations, and this has been handled not in this type of special meeting situation. So what's different about this?
So, typically what has happened is the violation is noted, the board has discussed it and contact the individual. In the situations I'm aware of, the individual resigned. By statute, we have no other option than to do it publicly in a special meeting or a meeting format. That's by statute.
I understand that, but
That's-
there was a situation, I'm not speaking of the ones that resigned. I'm speaking of a situation back in September where this was handled and the individual mailed a letter to the BOCC and signed their position on a board.
Mm-hmm. And if you recall,
That was not handled in this type of.
no, if you recall, because it did go to the board and the board said we don't want to bring it up at this point in time because it was the election. And I had to go up to the Board of County Commissioners and apologize on behalf of the town. The person was called, that person submitted an apology to the full board, and then we also explained that to the public that we don't do those things. But the board made a conscious choice at that point in time not to do anything because it was during the election cycle. So, trust me, I didn't feel really great going up to the Board of County Commissioners and have to apologize for that at all, but that's part of duty.
But I still don't understand why that is different than now. I know you understand the election, and I was one of the ones who said,
Yeah.
I don't want to in any way impact an election by doing this. The election's over, but still, we're talking about an individual who has spent 5 years of their selflessly volunteering for a board.
Yeah, I'm not going to weigh in on that. You asked the question about how's it different, and what was different was the board accepted her apology, and that was
So-
it.
So I have one last question. Is there, on other issues where this type of thing has happened, and there is written documentation, is there a statute of limitations for bringing this before the board?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Not that I'm aware of.
That's all I have to say.
Anything else? Ms. Jean, do you want to speak? Please come up to the microphone.
So anyway, I've been a 5-year, actually 3-term appointed to Parks and Rec. I have never gone on social media. I have steered away from political things, and you know, Steve, you and I have a lot of discussions, a lot of coffees, a lot of private messages, and sometimes I'll raise my feelings to you. I don't go out in public to do it. I do, however, have a freedom of speech, which nobody can take away from you. And this was not meant for next door or for anything like that. It's an Anklin Forest community that is in uproar because there is a college coming on a parkland. Nobody is really extremely happy with that idea, and I know that Commissioner Burl is unhappy that that's the consensus. How do I feel about it? I said, well, you guys should go do a feasibility study. I believe it's in the back part of the park. I still believe that's the people's park. I put in a motion 2 meetings ago. I put in a motion to come in front of the commissioners to ask what is going to happen with that park and where are we going with this park. I was told by Ms. Dina, our Parks and Rec director, that they couldn't discuss it because the master plan isn't done. 2 meetings later, and apparently that came from you, I don't know what the story was, 2 months later, there's a whole deal on the floor with, and I'm not anti-education. In my email, I said, I wish that Mr. Burrell worked as hard on keeping the Union Day School, which I think is a tremendous loss if it leaves our Waxhaw city limits. I don't know if you're in agreement with me. It's a charter school. They don't get, you don't have to, it's a 501c3. It's all paid for. The brick and mortar is paid for, the state funds it. Why would you let that school, why was there no help to these people? You work so hard on education. Okay, and I'm just saying, I mean, as a board.
Let's stay on the topic at hand, because we're not going to have a discussion about Union Day Charter.
No, but it is the topic. The topic is education. I have no problem with South Piedmont. My son's most probably going to go to South Piedmont next year. I have no problem with them coming. We could buy a piece of land and
We're not debating the feasibility study.
I'm just saying it's options. I just always felt that that park was never developed because it's kind of going to go somewhere else. You know, I put my real thing is animal control, animal care, which has been, the board has not helped me ever with that. To be honest with you, I will say you support the Humane Society and spay and neuter and stuff, but there's not been a lot of help. This is not my first love. It's not Parks and Rec. My first love is just something completely different. But I've sat on this board for years and years and years and got nothing achieved. Really, nothing to speak of. Well, I think that it's a witch hunt. It really is. It's a private email. A private email. It is, I have never, ever posted. I'm off land of the Waxhaws. I'm off WhatsApp Waxhaw and all these things. I don't post about it, and you know, Steve. And
I wouldn't know because I don't get on Facebook,
well,
so.
I hardly get on those things. My only reason for being on there is because of animal control. That's the only reason I'm on there, really. So I was so good at my job that nobody gets elected nobody gets put on Parks and Rec for more than 2 terms, all right? But I was asked to go on a 3rd term because I was an expert. Well, we're going to have a whole discussion. You and me should have a discussion about that, okay? Because I have a feeling I know why that happened. But again, you know, here I stand. By the way, English is my second language. I don't know what your first language is. English is my second language. So if I said bored or whatever, that's just because I'm second language English, all right? I'm not a first language English. This is my second language. Anyway, if you want to kick me off the board, that's fine, okay? It's going to be fine, but I'm going to fight harder from the inside and the outside than I do from the inside, okay?
Thank you. Additional comments?
Yes. There were
Commissioner Burrell,
two
speaking to the
things.
microphone, please.
There were 2 things said, and I would really like the opportunity to respond to them. One, Jean misrepresents the thinking that she knows how I feel, both about my neighbors in Anglin Forest and how I feel about the Union Day Charter School. Since I was not able to come to the meeting where that was voted on, I wrote down my comments, and quite frankly, reading them again, it's the one I think is most germane, is I think the removal of these units by July of this year.
Okay, let's, quiet,
No,
please,
you-
quiet, please,
okay,
quiet, please.
You bring those
We
things
don't
up?
need to
Okay,
discuss
okay.
Union Day Charter School, please.
No, it's just a misrepresentation, and I feel that's unfair.
Just stop, stay there. That would be terrific.
Okay.
Commissioner Fitzgerald, any additional comments? Commissioner Warner, any additional comments? Commissioner Byrne, Mayor Pro Tem Hunt?
I'd like to.
Commissioner Warner, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I mean, I still can't get over the fact that she represented herself as an individual with the town. I mean, it's fine to say I'm Gina, but to do it as a representative of the town, okay, it said we've accepted apology before. We can't accept an apology now? Are you not willing to apologize for this?
I haven't asked you for an apology.
Okay.
I said I'm second language interest. Yes, I'm on the board. I'm not whatever.
I mean,
Another language.
Okay, hang on a second. We're not having a debate here. Did you have a question?
the fact is that, you know, chaplain is very important, that if I get up there and speak about an individual and I am a member of a board, I have to identify that I'm speaking as myself in the public domain, which is what this is. You've represented yourself as part of the town and then made a statement. That's the problem I have with this.
Okay.
Okay.
But was there also, please.
Okay.
Were you making another suggestion in there?
Yeah, I mean, complete removal, in my opinion, is a little dramatic for a first time. I mean, provided there's no, a censure might be something. I mean, it doesn't mean really, it doesn't really take you off the board or anything of that nature. It would be more appropriate, I believe, at this point, myself.
Okay. How does the rest of the board feel about that?
Ms. Cena just apologized. Did you
Yes,
all hear her
I heard that.
apologize?
That's why I said this.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
How does the
Yes.
rest of the board
I heard.
Yes, I
feel
just
about
heard,
that?
yes, I just
Okay.
heard her apologize right after she stood there and said that a college is coming to town. Now, if she knows a college is coming to town, that's news to me. I don't know if it's news to the rest of you or not.
This isn't about a college.
Well, I'm just saying, this presents what the behavior was.
But this
She is a
isn't
representative.
about the college.
She is a representative of this town, and she has made statements.
No, just a minute.
She has continued to make statements. She has continued to make statements that identify what's going to happen. This is why things in Waxhaw sometimes go astray, because people use the bully pulpit, whether it be this one or this one.
Put your finger down.
I'm pointing to the, not to her. I'm
Just
pointing
put
to
your
the
finger
pulpit.
down.
Just pointing to the pulpit. They use the bull. How about this? They use the bully pulpit to make statements that are completely
Don't address
completely
this stuff
off,
to me.
completely off the
Don't
chart.
address this stuff to me.
So they're complete. I'll address it to everybody.
Good.
People have made statements from the bully pulpit that are completely off the chart, and folks hear this and they take that as, well, people think this and people think that, and then some folks on this board make those same statements over again, and folks go, "What is going on in Waxhaw? They can't get it straight." Or somebody sits at home and sees it on the YouTube channel and then writes an article about it in the newspaper. Again, folks, this is what we're dealing with here, and this is why. So I'm still
Okay.
stuck with my original support.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment? And we're gonna have the individual come back up in a minute. Just so anybody else want to make a comment?
I would like to agree with, I'd like to agree with Mayor Pro Tem Hunt on every statement he made, that is our biggest problem in the town of Waxhaw, is people use our podium to make the Board of Commissioners look bad. And I don't understand that,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Also, the apologizing was like a left-hand apology.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Jean, before you speak, come up to the microphone so we can catch it, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you think I'm anti-education, I'm not. Okay, if you think that I don't think that Piedmont College should come here, they should. It's an asset to the town. My only beef is, where do they go? Now, I know, I'm not concerned with traffic like everybody else is, because I know that there's going to be adjustments and the traffic will flow like it always does. Everything that you want to put downtown, people complain about the traffic. Is that not true?
Okay, I'm gonna interject here.
I'm just gonna say-
Hang on a second. We haven't even gotten the feasibility team.
Exactly.
Let me
That's
finish.
what I said.
Let me finish, please. We haven't gotten the feasibility study even started. The team named. We haven't even gotten it off square one yet. So, the whole discussion about
Correct.
college, whether anybody's for it, against it,
Correct.
up here, down there, in the back, out front,
Feasibility
whatever.
study.
Let me finish, please. Is off the table. The question is about the matter at hand. And you,
I'm not against education. I'm an educated person. I am now in the business of education. My son would benefit from this. Okay, I'm not against the college. I know what it will bring to the city. I think it's a great idea. Do I think I want it on a parkland? I'm Parks and Rec for 5 years. Okay, my heart and soul's in parks, and I'm going to fight for parks. Okay, I have other issues that I'm not going to bring up tonight. You and I can go and have coffee one day. Do you want to do that?
sure,
Okay, and then we're going to talk about it. Whatever the result here is.
okay.
Okay? But honestly, I would like to see that park open. I would not like to see.
But we're not talking
I don't
the
want to
park.
see, yes, the park.
We're not talking about that now. We're not just, it's okay. We know your passion,
Well, yeah,
okay?
and that's sometimes why I get things done, right? But, Fred and I have not had a good relationship for many, many years, and it's a witch hunt. He doesn't most probably like me being
Okay.
on the board and being the chairperson.
Thank you,
That's it.
thank you.
And I apologize for misrepresenting myself and board, department, or whatever. That might have been what I shouldn't have done. But for the rest of it, I think it's okay for me to speak my mind.
Okay. Does the board want to have any other comment about Commissioner Warner's suggestion?
I agree with Commissioner Warner.
So do we have a motion on the table to remove the individual? Do you want to modify that motion at this point in time?
I do not.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I do not.
And then at this point in time, if there's no further discussion, I have to call for a vote on the motion. Commissioner Warner.
Could I make one more comment?
Yep.
I did not like that apology. To make another jab at Commissioner Burrow that I don't like him, or we don't get along. That's not, to me, a proper apology. I mean, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I will take the vote. All those in favor of removing John Cena from the Parks, Cultural, and Recreation Boards, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Vote was 4-1. Okay, with that business completed, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 This meeting is adjourned.